Morning, YouTube. It's Rob here at the homestead. Last week I promised my sisters I wouldn't do another tractor video. So today I'm going to take the dogs for a little walk. It's Independence Day and we got a lot of family coming over this afternoon, so I got to get home and do some chores around the house and get things cleaned up a little bit. This might be a little, well, it might be a good opportunity to tell you a little bit about me and my history. And this might be a little rough because I'm probably not as good talking about myself as I am about other things. So I grew up in a small town in New Hampshire. I have 3 older sisters, and my father was a retired major out of the Army, and he'd retired when I was really little, so I don't remember much, if any, of that. He retired in '68, I believe, and he got a job working for the state of New Hampshire, and he eventually was the manager of Franconia Notch State Park. And it was kind of a cool childhood growing up with all that, and I really didn't, you know, you don't know it when you're growing up in it, but in retrospect it was really kind of cool because Franconia Notch State Park was a ski area. Cannon Mountain ski area is there, and checking for the little dog. She's not coming with me. Into the woods we go. And also a lot of hiking trails. It's in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So it's a pretty neat place to grow up. Very small town. I don't know, maybe 500 people total. Anyways, early 80s, there wasn't a lot of opportunities around there, and the last thing my father wanted was for me to grow up in or work in the ski industry. And so I joined the military, and I started off as a military policeman, and I worked 3 years at Fort Bragg, North Carolina with the 18th Airborne Corps. And you know, at Fort Bragg you just deploy everywhere all the time. I deployed to Seneca Army Depot for Operation Athena's. It was people protesting nuclear arms back then. Deployed to Grenada twice, once for Operation Urgent Fury, and the other time was Operation Island Breeze. And we were basically training the Grenadian police force. Other things I did when I was at Fort Bragg is, you know, basic non-commissioned officers course, and basic leadership courses, and I went through the Northern Warfare Instructor Qualification course up in Alaska. We trained in the Uwharrie National Forest. We trained up at Fort Pickett, Virginia. We did amphibious landing school up in, that was Little Creek, Virginia. So Fort Bragg was a busy time, and on top of that we'd work on the road as police officers and on Fort Bragg, and it was exhausting. And I was gonna get out, and the in-service recruiter got a hold of me. Ooh, look, the blackberries are... See, we don't have blackberries yet. They're big, fat green ones, but there's a lot of them. Wow. So the in-service recruiter got a hold of me and said, you know, you really don't need to be a military policeman, you can do something else. And I said, well, what can I do? And he goes, well, armor is giving bonuses to re-enlist into armor, be on a tank. And I'm thinking, wow, that's cool, tankers party. So, you know, I'm a young kid and I go into armor and end up spending 3 years over in Schweinfurt, Germany with 264 armor. And I come back stateside to 68th Armor up in Fort Carson, Colorado. 68th, I believe. It was a long time ago. I was in 89. Excuse me. Then Desert Shield started happening, and they took M1, A1 qualified people, and there wasn't very many of us because Fort Carson had just transitioned from the M60 A3s to the M1s, and I think all of us that were qualified on M1s ended up going to Fort Riley, Kansas, and filling slots there. So I deploy for Desert Storm with 1st Infantry Division, Big Red One. And you can see 437 Armor was the company I was with when I went through Desert Storm. After that was over, I ended up spending some time up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin as a recruiter. I did recruiting duty, and then I ended up going back to Fort Riley, Kansas, back to the Big Red One, and I was with 337 Armor at that time. And then the Army was kind of downsizing. I won't tell you who the president was at the time, but he really wanted a smaller military, and he offered incentives for mid-level NCOs to get out of the Army. And most of us that qualified took the deal. And I'm glad I did, because he sent everyone over to Kosovo after that, and it was kind of a train wreck. I did some time with the Missouri National Guard as a military policeman, deployed down to Panama, and that was an interesting tour. We were just in support of the engineers down there, but spent some time out in the jungle for that period. During that time, I worked on a farm out in Missouri, the Magruder Collins farm. Great family. I probably talk about them more than than people want to hear, but just an amazing family. And if you guys are watching this, miss you guys. I enjoyed it. But at that time, my mom had passed away, and I was really feeling kind of homesick, like a lot of people do. So I packed up and I moved back here to New Hampshire. Well, not here, I live in Vermont now, but it's right across the border. And I served with the New Hampshire National Guard for just a little bit. And I got a job as the manager of deer flies going on. Let's go back this way, guys. Come on, no. Got the job as a manager of a kind of a higher end development, and it didn't allow me time to really serve with the National Guard, and I was ready to be kind of done with it. So that was my time in the military. I spent 16 years with the development company as the manager and executive vice president, and I was getting burned out. It was kind of like Fort Bragg all over again. I was working long hours with very little gratification, and my wife and I had built a home off the property, and it was difficult to get her to go back when it was time for me to go back to work after my day off or my 2 days off. So we decided that we would get done there. My wife was a banker. She just retired, 33 years working for the same bank. And so it afforded me the opportunity to get done there and look for employment somewhere else. And I had found Cabot Creamery from a friend, and I started working there 9 years ago now, and I love it. They pay me for every moment I'm there, and they're extremely appreciative of everything we do for them. So that's kind of my work history anyways. I get frustrated these days with what's going on, because I do love this country, and it frustrates me to know that people are either, sorry about that, kicking the ball for Callie, are either ignorant to what people have gone through to give them the country that we have today. People less fortunate than me that have given their lives for our freedoms that we have, the freedom that allows them to turn their back on the national anthem or protest in ways that I don't agree with. But that's the great thing about our country, is people can do that and not be shot like in other countries. And I guess I just want them to acknowledge that they're able to do that because of soldiers at one time or another had given everything for their independence. It's everything from the Revolutionary War to the Civil War. You know, a lot of great people stood up and fought for the freedoms of those who couldn't get it on their own, and they were willing to stand up and say, that's not right. And I think that it's worth fighting for. Whether it was in the Revolution, where we were fighting the tyranny of England, or it was during the Civil War, where good people stood up and said, no man should have to live in bondage. So Independence Day means a lot to me. It's one of those one of those holidays where I really take note of what people have given to give what I've got. So that was kind of a rambling walk in the woods. Have a happy 4th of July and enjoy your freedom. It's an amazing thing, and it's something that a lot of people in this world just don't have like we have. So really covet it. It's an amazing thing. So like, subscribe, and have an amazing 4th of July.